Niles North, I thank you for the opportunity to share today. Dan Horyn loved this place, and he loved you, and he loved the students of Niles North and being here and being part of this community. I thank you for the opportunity to share today in remembering Dan Horyn. My name is Paul Swanson, and I am the Director for Physical Welfare at Niles North High School. I have known Dan for the last 12 years as a colleague, coach, and friend. Andrea, Michael, Ellen, his parents, and Nicole, his sister, on behalf of District 219, my heart goes out to you and your family for your loss. Dan loved each of you dearly and spoke of you often, outwardly displaying his affection for you. Friends, colleagues, athletes, and students, my heart goes out to you as well, as we have lost a pure treasure who profoundly influenced all of us here and anyone blessed enough to spend some time with Dan Horyn. Today is a sad and somber occasion for us to put to rest such a bright light. But please forgive me today if I choose not to mourn, but to celebrate the life of Dan Horyn. You see, when I think about Dan Horyn, I smile. I just can't help it. When I think about his crazy hair, I smile. When I think about his clothes, I smile. And when I think about all the conversations, interactions, and stories that flood my mind about Dan, I smile. So as I deliver Dan's eulogy today, I cannot guarantee that it will not be interrupted by what my family calls man tears. But please help me celebrate the life of Dan Horyn. Dan was born May 5th, 1979, to Michael and Ellen Horyn. Dan lost his courageous battle with cancer and went home to be with his Savior, Jesus Christ, on Monday, September 9th, 2013. Dan grew up in West Chicago, Illinois, where he attended West Chicago High School. He was an excellent student and athlete, always taking pride in his work and effort. As a student, Dan was the West Chicago class of 1997 valedictorian, earning a 4.0 GPA. It was in high school that Dan developed a love for writing through journalism class. He served his school as the editor of sports, news, and perspective columns. Dan, never afraid of being different, once wrote "Well Worth the Wait," a column he did for the school newspaper in which he argued against premarital sex. "Morals can be cool," he wrote in the Valentine's Day Wildcat Chronicle. Dan began running in the 4th grade for the Aurora Sundowners Track Club, where he was a natural on the track and in cross country. Running became his passion and a way of life. Dan's sister Nicole tells a story of one time he was determined to get a 5-mile run in despite hurricane-like conditions outdoors. He measured a lap in the living room from the front door to the back door and began running, informing his sister that he thought he was under a 5-minute pace indoors. In high school, Dan finished 2nd place in the 1600 at the IHSA state meet in 1997 and went on to run at the University of Illinois on scholarship, posting a personal best of 3:48 in the 1500. Dan was quoted by Barry Temkin of the Chicago Tribune as saying that following college, his dream job would be to become an author of fiction novels, but he would major in education, just in case it didn't work out. Selfishly, I'm glad it didn't work out. Dan's love for English, writing, and running came to Niles North High School in the fall of 2001. Dan immediately endeared himself to the student body and faculty with his sense of style, love for what he was doing, and compassion for his students and colleagues. On the website ratemyteacher.com, students wrote about Dan that sums him up in a nutshell. "Mr. Horyn is the best English teacher I ever had. He has his own style that looks like that 70s show, and he isn't ashamed of it, and that's cool. He really cares about his students." It was not out of the ordinary to see Dan wearing the skinniest of skinny jeans, a tie made of wood, metal, or even homemade. Those that thought his style quirky, including me, were only jealous that they could not pull it off the way that he could. As an English teacher, Dan was talented and passionate and put everything he had into honing the craft of teaching. He was voted Teacher of the Year by the students in 2008. This was an award he was extremely proud of and very deserving. Dan, always humble about any honor he won. While going through his desk this week, we found his Teacher of the Year parking pass and his National Board Certificate folded up in a bottom drawer. Dan's student and community loved him dearly, as was demonstrated last October. Students in their physical education classes ran in honor of Dan, collecting pledges for the American Cancer Society. As an outpouring of support for his fight, the students raised over $21,000. While at Niles North, one of Dan's favorite pastimes was searching for his keys. It seemed to be a daily occurrence. Andrea reports to me that at the time of his death, he didn't know where his wallet, wedding ring, or keys were. One day, Dan ran out to complete an errand on his lunch hour. When the errand took longer than expected, Dan had to hustle back to Niles North in time for his next class. He rushed up to his classroom and he finished the day of teaching. At 3:30, he began his hobby, searching for his keys. Giving up the search in his office and locker, he went to his car to see if he had left them there. He did. They were in the ignition and the car was running. Michael Graham, Dan's assistant coach in cross country, tells the story of one day at practice. Dan said he had had a first date the night before. "How was it?" Michael asked. "It was a little weird," said Dan. "Weird how?" "Well, she was still in college and I had to go to the dorm to pick her up, and it just felt funny." Michael reassured him that nobody thought anything bad of a 23-year-old teacher dating a 21-year-old student. Asked how the date went, he replied, "It was great. She's really cool, and her name is Andrea." A couple of years later, Dan was seen by a student after school in the Niles North courtyard, pacing and talking to himself. When asked what he was doing, he told his class he was nervous and practicing to ask Andrea to marry him. She said yes, and Dan married the love of his life, Andrea Billick, on June 6, 2006. Dan and Andrea shared a love for life, which included travel and often planned and took fantastic trips together. One of my least favorite times to talk with Dan was on the first day of school each year. "Dan, how was your summer?" "It was awesome. We went to Thailand for 6 weeks and we rented a Jeep and we drove from town to town and beach to beach. We put 3,000 miles on the rental car." "How was your summer?" "It was great. We went to Bratfest in Sheboygan." Always the encourager, Dan the vegetarian would say, "That sounds great." As a coach, Dan was remarkable in how he connected with his athletes. They called him Dad and Andrea Mom, as he provided much more than just a coach to those on his team. In Dan's relatively short time at Niles North, he coached his team to 3 cross-country championships, conference championships, and 7 consecutive track and field championships, with 3 sectional championships in track as well. He has coached 2 All-State athletes in cross and 10 All-State track and field athletes. His influence over the distance runners was fun to watch. As co-head coach with Dan during those years, my favorite activity was watching Dan run from finish line to 200-meter mark, giving his athletes splits. Many a referee asked me not to have him do this, as it could be interpreted as pacing. One referee stated, "If you don't stake him down in the middle of the track, I'm going to disqualify your runner." Remorseful, Dan would comply, but only for a little while, and then he was off again. Dan and I met weekly for track and field, but for the last year after his diagnosis, those meetings turned into sharing and prayer. Dan's faith was stronger than ever, never wavering from the truths that he held dear in the Bible next to his bed. One verse that Dan and I spoke of was 2 Timothy 4, 7-8. "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord will award to me on that day." Dan Horyn fought the good fight. He always finished the race. He kept his faith strong, and he earned the crown of righteousness that his Lord gave him on Monday morning. Dan's spirit will carry on in all of us and live as a legacy for the imprint and memories he has left on our lives. Because of this fact today, we need not mourn, but we can celebrate. Dan Horn, the husband, son, brother, uncle, nephew, cousin, colleague, teacher, coach, and the very best of friend. Peace be to his memory.